Hello, my awesome project managers. How are you? Now, I am holding a final boot camp. It's a very short boot camp. I would call it a micro boot camp. It is so micro. However, it gives you the opportunity to jump in and jump back out to the festivities. And it also gives you the opportunity to learn how to answer situational questions. We'll be taking a look at initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling and closing, going through those areas from the lens of a situational question from each of those areas, breaking those apart, expanding further on the concept of an initiating question, which means segues into the PMP exam content outline to reinforce your understanding of how to approach the exam. Some of you have never even been for any sessions that are focused on an exam strategy for all of the process groups or domains. So it's in your best interest to be there. I'm going to put a link somewhere below. Look below, or depending on the platform you are, could be on any of the sides, but you'll find a link you can click on. It is ridiculously low, inexpensive, so that those of you who are preparing can join this session. It is only $50, and it's a full 1 hour of training and coaching. And then when I get done, on top of that, if you want to kick back and ask any questions, I will answer the questions for you within a space of an additional 15 minutes. So it's a very compact session, but we are going to be going deep. This is not for the faint in heart who have not studied the PMBOK guide. So if you have not studied deep, this session is definitely not for you. This session is for people who are about to pull the trigger, like tomorrow, right? So if your exam is a few days out or a few weeks out, or you know you have studied sufficiently that you will not be lost in this session, then it is for you. If you want to go to the next level, you want to stretch yourself, push yourself, this session is for you. Okay? So I would advise you to look for the link below and do that. Now, before we jump off today, a few of our friends on YouTube have written in, and I just want to answer some of those questions that our friends have written in most recently. So if you're one of those folks who wrote in, thank you very much. I will be addressing those questions you had on various things. So let's see. And just be patient, because sometimes you could shoot a message and I might be on the road and unable to answer it immediately, or maybe for weeks on end, to be honest. But let's talk about this. Something from Carla. Not sure how this. Carla's talking about Kobe and LeBron. Did I actually talk about those guys on that video? That is interesting. I need to go back, watch the video. Priyanka says, I want to complete my PMP, but low on motivation as I have failed already. What's failure got to do with being motivated? That's the more reason why you should be motivated, Priyanka. So what if you fail? Do you really think failure should stop you? It should propel you. So Priyanka, don't be discouraged. That's why I show up as I do every day, trying to encourage you to understand you can do it. Don't let the exam fool you into thinking that you can't. Why would you be demotivated? Don't you want the benefits of being a PMP? They're benefits. I know a lot of people say that certification stinks. Yes, I agree. It's hard. It can be difficult. You need to close out many chapters and focus on one, many chapters in life and focus on just that PMP for that duration. For many people, they hate it. I understand. But the benefits of getting PMP certified, if you are a project manager in it for the long haul, They're countless. Okay, so don't be discouraged. There's absolutely no reason for you to be discouraged. Okay, let's see what else we have here. I'm so sure I saw a few other comments. Let's see. Okay, the PMP exam content outline. Hina was asking for links to the other emails and got those, or the other videos, I beg your pardon, got those across. Denny Mack shared a very moving testimony here about success. So Priyanka, if you're listening, you're watching, you might want to hear what Denny has to say. Denny says, Phil, I couldn't agree with you more. Over the last year, I survived Hurricane Michael, cared for my father who died from cancer. Do you hear that? That's heavy. All while studying for my PMP. There were too many times I wanted to give up or put it off. I'm glad I kept pushing forward and got my PMP. The point is, if I can do it with all the things I had to deal with, anyone can do it. What a testimony there about tenacity. And Denny, my heart goes out to you. I know how that could feel. I've been in a similar position. That it's a very, very hard place, very hard position to be in, to lose your loved one like that. So that's exactly what he would have wanted you to do, to keep pushing forward, right? Our loved ones, they want us to go on and keep pushing forward, even if they left, so well done, and hats off to you, Denny. So Priyanka, be encouraged from that, okay? There's absolutely nothing you cannot do when you put your mind to it, when you stay dogged, rugged, and tough. I had a similar friend who lost a loved one, a parent, the day before the Prince 2 exam. And this friend of mine didn't back down and went into the exam and passed the exam. So there are many times we could feel like giving up, but do not give up. Okay? Don't give up. We got a message from Busala here, and it says, I passed my PMP watching your videos and doing my own studying. There's loaded information in your videos. Thank you very much. I appreciate your words of encouragement. Our friend Bob, Bob the boss, who is one of our senior colleagues in the world of project management, typed in, checking in at 1731. That was about a week ago. Thank you very much. And I'm going to answer a question from one of our students that came in earlier. So let's pull that up. And this question is about EEFs and OPAs. It's a very good question. And this is from Mr. Kumar. This is from Shailesh. Very good question, Shailesh. Let's beam this question up here. This is a very, very good question indeed. So I'm going to go into our whiteboard here. Let's grab the whiteboard. Share the whiteboard. There we go. And I'm going to type the question in here so that you guys see the great question that he asked. So we've got a few questions from Mr. Kumar here. So the first one, it states how the change control procedures and the change management plan are linked to each other. That is a good question. Change control procedures, as in the procedures for performing integrated change control, that is exactly what is in your plan, you see. But let's read in the PMBOK guide. There's a particular page I want you to go to follow me along. And this page is 40, page 40. For those of you who are just joining, again, we have tomorrow a final strategic boot camp. I do not want you to miss it. So if you are keen on learning how to deal with these situational questions on the PMP exam, you want to look somewhere below because I have a link to it. As I said before we started this, it's a very affordable session. It is only $50. So if you are one of those folks who really wants to ace the exam and you've heard quite a lot about situational questions, I want you to attend. And I'm going to give you a hot link for you to go straight there right now, because I know some people are not going to go except I give it to them directly in this conversation. So right here on our whiteboard, I want you to go to this link I am typing in here. And I mean, after the 21st of December, this will not be available. This session is for the 21st of December at 2 p.m. Eastern. So again, here is a link. It's tinyurl.com/PMP situation 9. Go there, sign up, and come learn how to deal with situational questions on the PMP exam, okay? But let's go back to the question we're talking about here, how the change control procedures and change management plan are linked to each other. So go with me to page 40 in the PMBOK guide, page 40. And then when you get to page 40, all the way down at the bottom, I want you to look under executing, monitoring, and controlling. Now, those of you who are PMBOK scholars, who are used to reading the thing, you know where we are. It's already very familiar just looking at it. We are looking at organizational process assets, and we're taking a look at processes and procedures, policies, and things such as that, okay? Now, when it comes to this page on page 40, the PMI start off by saying, executing, monitoring, and controlling and closing under this bigger umbrella of processes, policies, and procedures. And then it says, change control procedures, including the steps by which performing organization standards, policies, plans, and procedures, or any project documents will be modified, and how any changes will be approved and validated. So let that sink in for a second. Under your OPAs, you have a special section for change control procedures. And these change control procedures are the steps to change standards in the firm that is outside of the project, policies in the firm that is outside of the project, plans, if they are project management plans, we begin to see some project associated processes here. And then it says procedures or any project documents. Now, when it comes to OPAs, organizational process assets, you know, you've got processes and procedures and the corporate knowledge base. We have standard operating procedures within our OPAs. So the bottom line is, when you think about OPAs, you've got some OPAs that are just standard operating procedures, okay? And then you've got other things that are database related. See? So your historical information from past projects, those are in databases. Your standard operating procedures for how work should be done, think of those as another bucket. And that's why the PMI says processes and procedures and the corporate knowledge base. Okay? So when you think of these are both OPAs. However, when you're working on a project, some of these standard operating procedures, they can be customized at a project level. And that's when we begin talking about the change management plan. Yes, we have an overarching plan for how to manage changes in the firm, but specific to this project, this is what we're going to do. So back to the question, how change control procedures and change management plan are linked. The change management plan builds on those change control procedures that already exist in your OPAs, but it could refine them to be more robust, to be simplified, to be adjusted in some way. Okay, it's a very good question. I hope this answers it for you. Okay, so what comes first? Change control procedures. What comes next? Your change management plan within the project, that is. Okay, so that is one take on this topic. And if you go through the PMBOK guide, whenever you see organizational process assets, keep your eye out for change control procedures because those exist in the narrative of OPAs, you see. So how changes will be validated and modified in the firm at large, those are part of the change control procedures talked about constantly in your OPAs. And again, as your project moves forward, some of that information is going to taper into some of your project documents. Okay, let's see. I believe we got another question from Mr. Kumar here. And this question, again, it's on OPAs and EFs, and it says, I have a question. In case of a conflicting situation between EF and OPA, which one holds a greater priority, and so the same to be implemented in the project? Interesting question. For example, if there's a certain predefined process in OPA, then we have new technology and trend in market. Oh, I see what he's saying. Okay. So let's write something out here. Better understanding of the question. So it's a very interesting question and an interesting perspective regarding EEFs and OPAs and which one takes greater eminence. So here it is. Between EFs and OPAs, which one holds a greater priority? And so the same to be implemented in the project. I understand what you mean. So if you have an EEF, which is, for example, the marketplace is changing, marketplace conditions are changing, versus you have an OPA, which says do this in a certain way, which one takes preeminence? Well, it would make sense to look at factors you cannot control because they will affect your project or your firm in some way. So if an EEF is coming down the pike, you know, with an 800-ton lorry and you are standing in the way of it, you're going to have to move at some point, whether you've got an OPA that says you must do things in this way or not. And that is why it's management's job to span across these boundaries and understand how should our organization be changing. Because if they're not doing that, they will fail, they will not succeed. So while EEFs sometimes are not necessarily law, it makes common sense to shift the organization to do that. Now, if you're a project manager on a project and things are set forth as an OPA, there's a standard operating procedure for it, you have to do it. You have to do it. And if you look at the context in the PMBOK guide, EEFs come into play, especially during planning. So you want to be thinking about these EEFs as a planning strategy, you know, not necessarily as operations. What you're saying has a tiny little slant towards operations, but I understand nonetheless what you're saying. But when you get an EEF and an OPA, you could also ask, is this a legal requirement? Because if you have a legal requirement, EEF, regulations and rules and stuff, and you have an OPA that in some way goes against it, you got to obey the law. So in this example, if it's law, if it's legal, EEFs are preeminent. In the other example, if it's not law and management and organization has decided this is how to proceed, you should proceed in that one. Okay. For those of you who are just joining, we've been talking about various things, and I did tell you that I have tomorrow situational boot camp coming up, and I really think you guys should be there because this will be the very last boot camp for 2019. It's a 1 hour, okay? 1 hour, and it's from 2 Eastern to 3 Eastern. Follow that link, tinyurl.com/PMP situation 9 and join. I would really like to see you there. Okay, I believe that is the gamut of questions. By the way, thank you very much, Mr. Kumar, again, for asking that question. And I think that is pretty much it. Thank you all very much for joining. And again, hit that link. Let's see you there. Let's grind and get this whole PMP thing done. I would really love for you to get certified in 2019, but that's fine. 2020 is there. But if what you need is that final push, you need to be on that call. You need to be listening to what I have to say regarding tackling these. For some people, that is the last piece they need, the last assurance they need to know they're on the right path. And I will be giving you questions and asking you, hey, answer this one, things like that all throughout the session. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you very much for your support, joining the station and everything you do. If you have not shared this information with your colleagues, with your peers, to let them know about my videos and these programs, please do so, because I'm sure someone could benefit from it. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.